Hello, clever people, and welcome to my prediction for the 2019 Oscar nominations. So the Academy Awards are coming up very, very soon here. They're a little bit more than a month away. And the actual nominations are coming out on Tuesday, so that's about, I think, 3 or 4 days from now. So I decided that I wanted to review or just go over what I personally believe will be nominated for each and every single category. The Oscars are, one of the biggest days of the year for me. It's up there with Christmas and my birthday. It's a really, really big day for me, and I always love coming up with predictions for what I think will win, what I think will be nominated. And in the past, I have done videos on what my prediction for who will win, but this year I wanted to try something different and also do who I believe will be nominated. So before we get into this, I am going to explain what my criteria is for these movies. A lot of it, I'm just judging it off of other award shows, other nominations, what won, what didn't win, and just general, buzz that is in the air. And I am going to rank them according to what I believe is a front runner, so what I believe will be nominated. Then I will give some contenders, so what I think is in contention for getting nominated, and some long shots where they could be nominated, but it would be a surprise if they were. So without any further ado, here are my 2019 Oscar nomination predictions. For Best Picture, my predictions are Black Panther, BlacKkKlansman, Roma, If Beale Street Could Talk, A Star Is Born, The Favorite, Green Book, Vice, and Bohemian Rhapsody. This is the biggest category, obviously, and I'm very, very excited to see what will win here because it's very up in the air. If I were to choose what I think will win as of right now, I would say Roma, and I would say that also up there is A Star Is Born. I think that it's really those two right now for Best Picture, and I think I would say Roma has the slighter upper edge just because A Star Is Born isn't winning much at other award shows. So I hope Roma does. The only movies on this list that I could see not getting nominated are Bohemian Rhapsody, and I'm only putting it on there because it won the Golden Globe, and Vice, which I think is questionable because it's not that good of a movie. Other movies that I think could be nominated that are in contention include First Man and Mary Poppins Returns, and a long shot, one that might be nominated but probably won't, is First Reformed. Alright, on to the next category. We have Best Director. So my predictions are Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favorite, Barry Jenkins for If Beale Street Could Talk, Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born, and Spike Lee for BlacKkKlansman. As of right now, if I were to choose who would win, I believe it'll also be Alfonso Cuarón for Roma. If he doesn't win Best Picture, I think that he'll win Best Director. And even if he does win Best Director, he's for sure gonna win. I mean, if the movie does win Best Picture, he'll still get nominated for Best Director just because his directing in this movie was so good. In contention, I would say is probably Bradley Cooper from A Star Is Born, but I really don't think that he has much of a chance to win. In contention, I would say is Adam McKay from Vice and Peter Farrelly for Green Book, and a long shot would be Damien Chazelle for First Man. Next up, we have Best Lead Actress, and my predictions are Emily Blunt for Mary Poppins Returns, Olivia Colman for The Favorite, Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born, Glenn Close for The Wife, and Melissa McCarthy for Can You Ever Forgive Me. In contention is Yalitza Aparicio for Roma, and a long shot is Toni Collette from Hereditary. I really want Yalitza to be nominated. I think she absolutely deserves it, but I think that she just hasn't been being nominated for much, so I'm kind of worried. If I were to choose who would win right now, if you asked me just a week ago, I would have said Lady Gaga, but Glenn Close for The Wife is starting to get a lot of hype, and the movie came out back in August, which I think hurt its chances, but now it's in the forefront, and now I do think that it has a pretty good chance at being nominated. Next is Best Lead Actor, and my predictions are Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born, Viggo Mortensen for Green Book, Christian Bale for Vice, and Ethan Hawke for First Reformed. In contention is John David Washington for BlacKkKlansman, and a long shot would be Ryan Gosling from First Man. The ones that are fighting for nomination right now are John David Washington and Ethan Hawke for First Reformed. I think those two are clashing, and I think that it could really be either one of them, but I give the slight edge to Ethan Hawke just because John David Washington is so new, and his performance isn't really the big thing from Black Klansman that is being talked about. Black Klansman is getting nominated for Best Picture, Director, all those things. Where First Reformed, the only other place where it's possibly being nominated is Original Screenplay. So I think that it does deserve to be nominated here, and I think that he will. If I were to choose who would win, again, ask me a week ago, I would have said Christian Bale. I mean, not Christian Bale. I would have said Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born, but today I am going to say Christian Bale for Vice. Next up is Best Supporting Actress, and my predictions are Emma Stone for The Favorite, Rachel Weisz for The Favorite, Claire Foy from First Man, Regina King from If Beale Street Could Talk, and Amy Adams from Vice. In contention, I'd say is Nicole Kidman from Boy Erased. Nicole Kidman I don't really think has a whole lot of a chance. She's just been nominated for some other things, but I think that the 5 that I mentioned for frontrunners are the 5 that will most likely get nominated. If I were to say who would win at this point, I think it's Regina King from If Beale Street Could Talk. Next up is Best Supporting Actor, and my predictions are Timothée Chalamet from Beautiful Boy, Adam Driver from Black Klansman, Sam Elliott from A Star Is Born, Mahershala Ali from Green Book, and Richard E. Grant from Can You Ever Forgive Me. In contention is Sam Rockwell from Vice, and a long shot is Michael B. Jordan from Black Panther. If I were to choose who would win as of right now, I think it's pretty obvious. I think it's Mahershala Ali. He won just 2 years ago for his performance in Moonlight, and Moonlight and this in Green Book, I think that those 2 performances are pretty equal. I might even give the slight edge to Green Book because he gave a wonderful performance in that. Very complex, very emotional, so I think he will win. Next up is Best Adapted Screenplay, and my predictions are Can You Ever Forgive Me, If Beale Street Could Talk, A Star Is Born, Black Klansman, and Leave No Trace. In contention is First Man, and some long shots are Black Panther and Beautiful Boy. Leave No Trace is the one that I doubt most on this list, but I think that it will just because, 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, really well-reviewed movie, and usually those really well-reviewed movies that aren't up for Best Picture, sometimes they'll sneak their way into screenplay, so I think that it will, and I am really hoping it will because it deserves to. If I were to choose the winner right now, who I think would win, my guess is If Beale Street Could Talk. Next up is Best Original Screenplay, and my predictions are Roma, 8th Grade, The Favorite, First Reformed, and Green Book. In contention is Vice, and a long shot is A Quiet Place. If I were to choose who I thought would win as of right now, I think that it could be Roma, but The Favorite is also up there. I think those 2 are almost head-to-head. It really depends on what wins the Writing Guild Award and also the Director and Screen Actors Guild. Those 2 matter too, just because those 2 can sometimes weigh, if they're getting a win for director, maybe not for writer, or if they're getting wins in the acting categories, maybe not for writing as well. But I think Roma and The Favorite right here, head-to-head, either one could win. All right, the next one I will not be giving much commentary for. I will basically just be listing them down because the 8 I mentioned are really the 8 big awards. The other ones are still pretty significant, but not as significant. So next up is Best Animated Feature, and my predictions are Isle of Dogs, Incredibles 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and Mirai. I don't even have contenders or long shots for this. I think it'll be that for sure, and I think the winner will be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Next up is Best Documentary Feature, one of the best categories this year, and my predictions are Free Solo, Won't You Be My Neighbor, 3 Identical Strangers, RBG, and Minding the Gap. And I would say a long shot is Hale County This Morning, This Evening. I think that this is Won't You Be My Neighbor's award to lose. I think that it's almost 100% that it will win. Everybody loves this movie. Everybody saw this movie. It's the highest grossing documentary ever. It'll win. Next up is Best Foreign Language Film, and my predictions are Roma, Shoplifters, Cold War, Burning, and Capernaum. And in contention is Never Look Away. I think that it's easy what's going to win this. It's Roma. Roma is absolutely going to win this, no doubt in my mind. No matter how many other awards it gets, Roma will win this one. Next up, now we're getting into some of the more technical categories. So the first one is Best Cinematography, and my predictions are Roma, The Favorite, First Man, If Beale Street Could Talk, and Black Panther. In contention is A Star Is Born, and a long shot is Cold War. I think this is Roma's award to lose as well. I just think it's, the cinematography in this was gorgeous. It was stunning. It was some of the best cinematography I've ever seen, and I think it'll be ridiculous if it doesn't win. Next up is costume design, and my predictions are Mary Poppins Returns, The Favorite, Black Panther, Mary Queen of Scots, and Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. In contention is Crazy Rich Asians, and a long shot is Colette. And the winner here is most likely going to be The Favorite. It's just the costumes in it are stunning. And the colors and everything, they help symbolize and reflect a lot of what the character's feelings. And I think it's just brilliant costume design. Next up is best editing, and my predictions are Roma, The Favorite, First Man, A Star is Born, and Vice. In contention is Black Panther, and a long shot is Widows. I've said it a lot of times, but I think the big movie this year will be Roma, and I also think it'll win the editing award. It's been winning at a lot of the other big ceremonies, and I think First Man could possibly steal its win, but as of right now, I think Roma is going to take it. Next up is best makeup and hairstyling, and my predictions are Vice, Black Panther, and Mary Queen of Scots. And in contention, I believe, is Suspiria. And the winner here, I believe, will be Vice. The Academy loves prosthetics and complete transformations, and what you saw here was that Christian Bale went from a normal-looking guy to Dick Cheney. And they did a lot of prosthetics, a lot of makeup work, so I'm sure that it will win. Next up is Best Original Score, and my predictions are First Man, If Beale Street Could Talk, Black Panther, Isle of Dogs, and Mary Poppins Returns. In contention is Black Klansman, and a long shot is A Quiet Place. The winner here, I believe, will be First Man. First Man, unfortunately, I don't think it'll be nominated for much or win much, but I think that this will be one that it does. It's won at like every other award show, so I'm sure that it will at least get this one. Next up is Best Original Song, and my predictions are Shallow from A Star is Born, All the Stars from Black Panther, I'll Fight from RBG, The Place Where Lost Things Go from Mary Poppins Returns, and Girl in the Movies from Dumplin'. In contention is Trip a Little Light Fantastic from Mary Poppins, and Revelation from Boy Erased. No doubt in my mind, the most locked category this year is Shallow for Best Song. There's no chance that it doesn't win. There's absolutely no chance at all. Next up is Best Production Design, and my predictions are Black Panther, The Favorite, Mary Poppins Returns, Roma, First Man, and then in contention is A Star is Born, and a long shot is Crazy Rich Asians. I think The Favorite will also win this one. The costumes and production in this movie in general were just stunning, and especially the production, like the feeling of the castle, it really did feel lived in, and it felt gorgeous and amazing, so I really hope that one does win because it deserves to. Next up are my predictions for Best Sound Editing, and they are First Man, Black Panther, Roma, A Star is Born, and A Quiet Place, with a contender being Mission Impossible Fallout. I think First Man will win this one. A lot of the space stuff, a lot of it just sounded really cool because of the way that the sound was edited together. It, even though this is mixing, I also think that First Man is a big contender in mixing because when it got loud, it was loud, and when it got quiet, it was right, and the sounds just fit together well. I think that First Man has a very good chance at editing. And next up is Best Sound Mixing, and my predictions are First Man, A Star is Born, Mary Poppins Returns, A Quiet Place, and Black Panther. In contention is Roma and Bohemian Rhapsody, and a long shot is Mission Impossible Fallout. Even though I did say that First Man does do a lot of really cool stuff with making the sounds loud when they should be and quiet when they, other times, I think A Star is Born will win this one, usually because music type movies tend to win the sound mixing awards, and I believe that this will be another year where that happens. And the last category I will be predicting is Best Visual Effects, and my predictions are Black Panther, First Man, Avengers Infinity War, Mary Poppins Returns, Ready Player One, and the contender is Welcome to Marwen. Unfortunately, I do believe that Black Panther will win in this award. I didn't even think that the special effects in Black Panther were all that spectacular or great, but it's been winning everything else, so I think it will. But that is the last category. So that concludes my Oscar predictions. So make sure that you tune in on Tuesday, on January 25th, I believe it is, to check out the awards and what gets nominated and see how right or wrong I am. So that concludes my review. So anyways, what are your thoughts on the Academy Awards, or what do you think will get nominated this year? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.